What's up? Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. Bruh. It's been so long that you might not even remember who I am, so hopefully that intro did a little bit for you in remembering. I look very different. It's been a few years. My last video was... Bruh. And a lot has changed since then. I have a newfound passion for music, as you can see. And if you don't mind, I think I'm going to change the direction of the channel a little bit, because before I felt like my channel did not use any of my personality and did not use any of my interests at all. So I'm going to be using this channel as an outlet for my thoughts on music, specifically new music, specifically albums. Yeah. Also, you might notice that this is a little late. This is what I'm recording this September 16th, 2022. If you are observant, you might have noticed that 2021 did end 9 months and 16 days ago. I just think that 2021 was such a good year for music that I would regret not getting my thoughts out there. And I do regret it, because I tried making this video, you know, when I should have. But that fell through, and I am not letting this fall through, because I have a channel with a bunch of subscribers. You're all gonna probably unsubscribe after this, but I don't really care, to be honest. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, keep watching. If you're into new music, old music, any music, specifically hip-hop, pop, shit like that, you know, then stick around. If you like the video, then like it, but you can do that, you know, when you're done with the video, of course. Subscribe, you know, stay subscribed. Please, please, please stay subscribed. And without further ado, let's get into the rules. The rules. Sorry, first I have a disclaimer to give. I think with any list it is important to give a disclaimer. First of all, this entire list is only my opinion. I feel like that should be obvious. Anything I say about these albums, take it with a grain of salt. This is only my opinion, and, you know, if I say an album's great or perfect, which I won't say, but if I say an album's bad or a song is bad, that's just me, baby. So walk away from this video with what you want. I just want you to build your own opinions. Additionally, this is not a perfect list. This is not going to have every album from 2021. This is probably not going to have every album that's on your list. This list is not going to have every single genre. I don't listen to every genre. I listen to specifically mostly hip-hop, pop, stuff in that vein. Yeah, I'm not Anthony Fantano. I do not listen to every genre. Sorry. Finally, feel free to comment if you feel like any album that you think should be on the list is missing. I'd be happy to reply and tell you why it's not included, whether I haven't heard it, whether I don't like it, and etc. So yeah, leave a comment. I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you. Also, if you hear a cat in the background, no you didn't. The rules. The rules. The rules. The rules of the classroom. The rules. The rules. The rules of the classroom. Okay, here are the rules. Alright, so the rules are simple. I'm going to be ranking albums. Although I probably shouldn't be using the word ranking. Let me explain. I just realized I had Mr. Morale in the background the entire time. I'll have to cover over it. That sucks. I'm not a huge fan of ranking albums I love above or below one another, although you kind of have to a little bit, but I don't like using like a numerical system or saying an album's a 7 or a 9 or a 4, you know, like I don't like reducing a beautiful work of art down to a number. So to avoid that, to the best of my ability, I'm going to be listing these albums in no particular order within 3 subcategories. And those categories are like, love, and favorite. The like category will serve almost as an honorable mention category. They're not albums I come back to much or at all, but I was able to pull a few songs that I love from them. The love category will consist of albums that I love. It'll consist of projects that I think are great. I come back to them a decent amount, and I love almost, if not all, of the songs on these projects. All these albums are great, but they fall just short of The favorite tier. This is basically my album of the year category. I think pretty much every album on this tier is tied for first place, although I do have my favorites, which I will specify later. Almost every song on these projects are songs that I adore in one way or another, and I'll probably be returning to these albums for the rest of my life, and I'm probably going to show them to my kids. These are just albums that I'll never forget, and I think you should check out every single one of them. As I briefly touched on before, I will not be giving a numerical score to any of these albums or songs. I just don't feel comfortable doing that because I feel like a lot of review watchers go into a review, see the numerical score, and then they go, oh, okay, it's a 7, I'm not going to listen to it. I think album review should be a lot more nuanced, talk about a lot more than that, you know, there's a lot more to be considered than a number. I'm going to be trying to keep my thoughts brief on each project just because if I don't hold back at all, this video is going to be too long for YouTube, definitely too long for a 3-year comeback video. Although this video is probably going to be too long for that anyway. Now, this is the closest I'm going to get to giving a numerical score. It is called Lampshades Overcomplicated Scoring System, Song Scoring System. This system is derived from a music hip-hop page that I follow, Jaw Talks Music, on Instagram and Twitter. I really like that system, so I'm borrowing it, but I'm adding my own little twist to it, so don't worry. So go follow him, I'll put his links in the description. So what I like about this list is instead of using numbers to rank songs, I'm going to be using colors that correspond to an adjective that is going to describe how I feel about the song, not the quality of the song. That is a very important distinction. It's just going to be how important the song was to me and how much I loved it. Here are the adjectives I'm going to be using. As you can see, it starts with interlude and white, which is any track that is an interlude. An important thing to clear up about the interlude though, if it acts as a song, in my opinion, and if I liked it as much as a song, like a great or amazing song, then I'm gonna rank it as such. Above that, we have bad and red. This any song that gives me any negative emotion that I just don't like to listen to. Above that, in orange, we have meh, which is any song that I really don't have an opinion about. Above that, we have good in yellow. This is like a 6 or a 7. Oh, I used numbers. Sorry, but I think that's the best way to describe it, is like almost a meh plus. Above that, we have great and green, which is a little above good, you know? I don't have to describe these. Above that, we have amazing and blue, and I need to clear something up. So amazing basically is going to mean perfect. I don't like that word, but that's pretty much what that means. It's as good as it can get to a robot's ears. The reason I say that is because above that, we have legendary in purple. Legendary is a perfect song to me. I define legendary as any song that has made me feel too many emotions to describe with words. Legendary is for any song that has almost killed me with how good it is. It doesn't even have to be sad. I cry to great songs all the time just because they're so great. Any song that has made me cry out of its quality belongs in this category. It is essentially an 11 out of 10. So if you see an album that doesn't have any legendaries and only has a bunch of amazings, that is still amazing. And same with great and good. If an album score is mostly going to be yellow, green, and blue, that is still pretty great. Good, great. Just think about it. Every song doesn't need to be amazing and legendary. Legendaries are going to be quite rare. They're only going to appear on my favorite albums, on my favorite songs, probably 1 per album. Some albums have a lot more though, but yeah. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the albums. Alright, first up we have Vint Staples by Vint Staples.
Yeah.
Vint Staples is self-titled, produced by Kenny Beats. It's just like a vibey little hip-hop record with great production by Kenny Beats and just pretty run-of-the-mill Vince Staples. A lot more toned down than his other stuff. A lot less of that inflection in his voice that I find problematic with some of his other music. Not really many standout tracks, just a really nice, quick listen, easy listen. I recommend checking it out. My favorite tracks are Law of Averages, Sundown Town, and Taking Trips.
Hockey master, hockey smoking on titanium strobe. Wearing my pen when I write my round.
Alright, next up we have Van Gogh's Left Ear by Z Loopers. If you've never heard of Z Loopers, he is in the same camp as Danny Brown with the... Well, he's literally in a group with him called Bruiser Brigade. I really like his voice. Some people might not enjoy his voice. It is very whiny, some might find it annoying. He can tone it down every once in a while, but I think it really is the best when he is doing his crazy voice. And his writing is very eclectic, very out there. His bars are very inventive, very funny, very interesting. Just things that you would never hear anyone say. It starts pretty great, and then it kind of fizzles out towards the end with some tracks that I just think aren't as good. They're more melodic. I think they really don't stick. The beats aren't as interesting, but definitely still some good tracks down there. My favorite track is absolutely Battery. That is one of my favorite songs of the last year. One of my favorite songs ever. I love Battery so much. Other Side of the Mirror is one of the funniest tracks I've ever heard, and Bash Bandicoon is why I have the Donkey Kong soundtrack up here. If you get it, you get it. Definitely check that one out. Alright, so next up we have You See For Yourself by IDK. I found IDK last year with this project, Is He Real? Which was, I felt like, a great, consistent, great concept album with a lot of great tracks. Good singer, good rapper, good lyricist, just the whole package. And I feel like he continues that on this project, if not a little weaker. There are a few tracks that I think are bad, a little redundant, some with bad melodies, you know, bad features. The track Red feels like a recycle of the song Porno in almost every way, and then I felt like the feature from MF Doom just felt really not good. No disrespect to MF Doom, of course, rest in peace, but I felt like it was just like one cringe bar about Wikipedia, and it was just not the best to honor him, you know? There's some amazing tracks. Of course, we have Dogs Don't Lie, we have Prada to Bank, Shoot My Shot, Peloton, Hey Auntie. Hey Auntie is one of the best songs he's ever made. There's a lot of deep emotional trauma he goes through on this album, and it can't be ignored, but I do think there are some songs that should be ignored. So yeah, just a pretty solid album. Definitely check it out for some great tracks and just some good trap and hip-hop. There you go. Alright, the next album we have The Off Season by J. Cole. I've never been a big fan of J. Cole. I found him a little corny, just not that important. I never felt like his beats were, you know, anything to write home about. I've always thought he has a great flow, and he's usually pretty good with the bars, but I felt like there definitely were some duds on this album. I think Amari is pretty terrible, 100 Mil is terrible. Pride is the Devil I have listed as bad just because I love the Amine song that the song samples, and I just can't listen to it without thinking of it. There are some great tracks, some amazing tracks on here. Definitely worth a listen. If you're into hip-hop, I don't like the Kendrick comparisons because I don't think he's nearly on that level, but if you like Kendrick, you might like this. I don't know. Worth a listen. Next. Next up, we have a quick little goofy little album from Zack Fox, Shut the Fuck Up Talking to Me. I think this was a surprise drop. If you know Zack Fox, just basically a shitpost rapper and just really hilarious all the way through. If you've heard Fafo, that's one of the best songs of last year. That song is really good, just a hypnotizing beat, just locks you in. And the rest of it is just similar quality, similar subject matter. Great production on this thing. Just, you know, it's just what you expect from Zack Fox. Alright, for this next one, we have an actual vinyl, not a picture. We have Sound and Sisters by Madlib. If you know Madlib, then you know he's one of the best producers to ever live. Amazing producer, and this is just a little beat tape from him. Pretty fucking quality all the way through. If you notice the rankings are a little low, that's just because it is a beat tape. There aren't vocals or a rapper to carry it. I'm less likely to listen to a beat tape than an album, you know, a hip-hop album with a rapper on it, but I think a lot of these songs are pretty great. I think Dirt Knock is amazing, The Call, Hop Rock, just some great tracks all the way through. Just great tracks all the way through, and at the worst, they're just nice to have on in the background. So definitely give it a shot.
Pure magic. No tricks, no tricks. No tricks.
Next up, we have Magic by Nas, a short little project from Nas. It's just 9 songs, came out right at the end of last year. I actually heard it the last day of last year, December 31st, if you didn't know. I'll be honest, I haven't heard much from Nas. I've listened to Illmatic, and I've heard this, and I haven't listened to King's Disease 1 or 2, which I've heard was a great album of last year. So if you think it's worth listening to, then definitely comment. But I listened to this on a whim. I really loved the album cover, which was the main reason I listened to it, and I fell in love with it very quickly. I don't find myself coming back to it very often, but I think Hollywood Gangsta is one of my favorite songs of last year, one of the best beats I've heard ever, and Meet Joe Black and Speechless, and all these tracks are amazing, so definitely give it a shot. Next, we have the second installment of a little series of projects from JPEGMAFIA, EP 2. Also, if I haven't mentioned it yet, yeah, I'm including EPs. EPs are basically albums. This has 7 songs. If it is more than like 20 minutes, I'm counting it. Sorry, but not sorry, because I think an EP has as much place on this list as an album does. So, anyway, EP 2 by JPEGMAFIA, following EP 1 of 2020, and preceding LP later in the year. This is Peggy in a very different zone that we've ever seen him. Not many rap tracks on here. I mean, I guess they're all rap, but like not as many hip-hop, you know, drums. Not as aggressive from Peggy is what I guess what I'm trying to say. A lot more melodic, a lot more vibey, spacey. To me, it sounds like you're trapped in a walk-in freezer with JPEGMAFIA and a French horn player. A lot of horns. Essentially one repeated French horn melody repeated through the first like 5 songs, and it just flows in a very unique way. As you can see, my ratings aren't very high, but I think together they complete each other, and I think it's a really nice listen. Not my favorite, not really any highlight tracks, but Fix Yourself and Panic Room are, I guess, my highlights. But yeah, worth a listen if you're into JPEGMAFIA.
Need to stop. I'm standing at the top, that's how I know you never seen the top.
Don't click away. I had to touch on this one, Certified Lover Boy by Drake. You've heard of it, you've seen the album cover, you've heard the beef, you know, fuck it, whatever. Everything you've heard about this album is correct. There are some good tracks, and it is mostly as bloated as the women on the album cover. It is just very fucking long, an hour and a half of lullabies, basically. But I think Poppy's Home, No Friends in Industry, and You Only Live Twice are incredible tracks that people never talk about. And there are just some good ones in there, you know, some mez, a lot of mez, but yeah, some great tracks. Definitely listen to those tracks. Don't listen to the whole thing. Not worth it. But, you know, I'm glad I listened to it because I got a few tracks out of it. So now you could keep watching the rest of the video. Hey, this is Editing Billy, and I'm just realizing now that I didn't really record any transitions between the liked, loved, and favorite phases, so right now this is going to be the introduction to the loved section. So thank you for watching, and let's continue the video. Love, 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 love. sorry, I'm wearing a shirt. It's a shirt. By the way, if you hear my fucking loud neighbors, you can complain to them. That's not my fault. So, can't really change that. There's about 11 fucking people out there. So that's what I have to live with, and that's what you guys are also going to have to live with. Great. Yeah, but if you were wondering, that is what's going on. They're playing music that is not on my list, so I'm not very happy about it, but... the next album we have up here is 2.5 by Amine. It is his in-between little mixtape between his second and third album. I loved 1.5 and I love 2.5. It's a great listen, very fun. It is a zone we've never seen Amine in. It sounds like how the album cover looks. Super colorful, super bright, super goofy, funny, just fun. Like, it sounds like he's playing around. Whereas on 1.5, we got kind of the opposite. Very toned down vocally, but very turned up beat-wise. Like, very bassy, very loud, but very chill, laid-back vocals from Amine. Almost like he doesn't give a shit, you know? Really solid tracks. Very fun. Love to listen to it. I highly recommend you hear it. As you see, it gets towards the end, it just gets better and better. He's almost like in a hyper-pop sphere here, just like really experimenting, really playing around with the sound, and I really mess with that. So yeah, go check it out. It's great. Next thing we have up here is an EP by Paris, Texas. They're an up-and-coming little duo from Los Angeles, and they're just fucking amazing. They're so infectious, so inventive, so creative, just amazing. Just, like, I don't even know how to describe it. This is one of my favorite things that I found in the last year, and I'm so happy I found it, man. They remind me of, like, early Brockhampton with, like, the energy they have and, like, the passion that they have, and specifically the sound. You could tell they were inspired by Brockhampton and Tyler the Creator and stuff like that, but man, these tracks are just so quality, and the music videos are amazing. Yeah, just really look out for these guys, because I think they are next up. Better Days, that fucking beat switch is one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. Casino, Pack for the Low, Heavy Metal, all incredible tracks. Just definitely check out the whole thing. The only track I don't like is A Quick Death, just because I think there's a little guitar riff in it that repeats the whole time, and it's really fucking annoying, and I don't like hearing it. Other than that, though, it's just amazing. Definitely check it out. This one's a very interesting one. This is By the Time I Get to Phoenix by Injury Reserve. A lot of people's album of the year last year. Unfortunately, it's not mine. I do really love it as it is in the love section. This album is absolutely nothing like they've ever made. They've, in their discography leading up to this point, I feel like they have been getting a little more and more experimental, like with their self-titled up there. Like, that was the most experimental they've been up to that point, and even that was a little much at the time. And this one, it sounds like they just completely said fuck it, and it worked. I think it really did work. It might turn off a lot of listeners, and it probably did. Turned me off for a while, but man, it's great. It's really good. I was able to see them live after this album. Sorry, I didn't even mention this album came after the death of Groggs, one-third of Injury Reserve, and rest in peace. He was my favorite part of the group, so I was nervous going into this, and he is definitely missed on here. He is in here a little bit, not nearly enough, but that's not anyone's fault. But yeah, a lot of pain on here, a lot of grief. The track Knees is absolutely devastating. Top Picks for You, I mean, is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard about grief. I've never heard grief put in that sort of way. Yeah, just an absolutely insane project, and just even now I'm debating putting it in the favorite tier, but I don't think it quite makes it, unfortunately. But still absolutely check it out. Check out Injury Reserve. Even if you don't like it, you might like their older stuff, but definitely support them. They're small artists. They need help, you know? So. Alright, this next one you might not have heard of. I haven't seen it on anyone's list yet. It's Can You Hear Me Now by ELIO. I found her through her work with Charlie. She did it was a remix of Charger from this album with Charlie, and I really liked the sound, so I listened to the project and I fell in love with it. I wasn't expecting to, but I definitely really love it. Yeah, just some, I think just some really well-written pop songs, just from front to back. This is an EP, who cares though? Just some great tracks, loved it. ELIO IRL is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard, and it makes me cry every time I hear it, so definitely listen to that one. And then Charger, Hate Somebody, When You Saw Love, Jackie Onassis, these are all incredible tracks, so definitely check her out.
Pull up, black boy, hop out. Shout out to my mother and my father didn't pull out.
Alright, this next one's a big one. We have Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. Now you might be surprised that this isn't in my favorite tier, as I do have it on vinyl, but I pooped my pants. I just felt like it didn't stack up with some of my favorite albums this year, and one of my big problems is I felt like it didn't have any really standout tracks. Like, there are a bunch of greats, a bunch of amazings. It's just super consistent, and there's not really a bad song. The only part I don't like is Sweet. I really fucking hate Sweet. Stop saying it's his best song. Stop saying it's the best on the album. Stop it. Other than that, though, just super consistent. I really like this lane that he's in. This is my favorite Tyler album. I like it more than Igor, I'd say. Maybe not. I don't think it's as good as Igor, but I do think it is my favorite to listen to. I just prefer it, and it is super summery. You could feel the wind, the hot wind blowing on you. You could feel the water from the boat just splashing on you. It just sounds like luxury. It sounds like decadence. It sounds like everything he wanted it to be, and it's good. I really like it. So, yeah. Next up, we have Donda by Kanye West. Definitely interesting album, interesting rollout. I'd say the best rollout of all time. Happy to be a part of it. I found Kanye at the end of 2019, pretty late after Jesus King came out. It's not the album that got me into him, but I do like that album. This album gave me many heart attacks coming out, and you know, every day or every week checking, you know, is it out, refreshing Twitter constantly. It was fun. It was miserable at the time, but it was very, very fun. It was the most fun I've ever had with an album rollout. I was lucky enough to have attended the third listening party, which I think was the best listening party, with the house and the fire and everything. God, it was just amazing.
Oh my God! What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
I think he is one of the greatest artists. I think he's one of the greatest artists to ever live, and but that rollout is fucking incredible. But and I think the album lived up to it. I think it's amazing. As you can see, it's mostly blue and some purples, a lot of green, just not much bad, but it is a mixed bag. It is a messy album. There's no real consistent sound, except I'd say the beginning has a very consistent sound. I think the beginning is very eerie, very creepy, with Donda Chant, Jail, God Breathe. Those are all fucking creepy songs. Praise God is creepy. But then in the middle, something happens where there's a bunch of gospel that comes in and a bunch of soul and life, and it's beautiful. And I loved like the industrial feeling of the first half, and then like the really warm spiritual feeling of the second half. I just think it's a really great contrast. I think it's a great listen. It is as long as Certified Lover Boy, but God does it hold up better than that fucking album. Next up, we have Heaux by Jazmine Sullivan. This is not a genre that I'm very well versed in. This is R&B. This is R&B, but God, I do love this album very much. Now, as you can see, it is a lot of interludes. It is mostly interludes. I think it's an EP, and I love it so much. It is one of the best storytelling albums I've ever heard, and yeah, I think it has the best use of interludes I've ever heard on an album. The way it's structured is song, interlude, song, interlude, song, interlude, song, interlude, and it just alternates except for some exceptions, but the interludes are all tales of women telling their stories and their reasonings for living this certain lifestyle. And then the song after the interlude is a song about that thing they're talking about. And I think the way she does it and structures it is incredible, super seamless. Just, I love it. The songs are all great. I'd say just the standout for me is the interludes and the way they're worked into here. And that is the only time you're ever gonna hear me say that, but God, it's just genius. I think it's a genius album and definitely worth giving it a shot. Alright, so the next album we have is Alright, the next album we have here is Montero by Lil Nas X. We're all familiar with Lil Nas X at this point. Just incredible hit maker, incredible songwriter, great hooks, super catchy melodies, just amazing at marketing and everything, just the whole package deal and visuals and everything. So that's what I was going into this album with. That's the knowledge I was going into it with, thinking, well, he's had some great songs. He went into this with Montero. I think he went into it with Industry Baby as well. And I was thinking, okay, well, this is definitely gonna be interesting. And the album cover and just his persona is super attractive and just fun. This is I think it is a perfect representation of who he is. And there are definitely some surprises on here. Like there's a lot of like darker tracks like that you wouldn't think such a popular artist would tackle, and it goes into deeper subject matter than you might expect. And I just think it's a really great album and just a great debut. I think he couldn't have done this better. I was able to see him live a few days ago, and it was just super fun, great choreography, everything you'd expect it to be. Yeah. Okay, this is a quick one. Red-Handed Akimbo by Paris, Texas. Another Paris, Texas project, but it's only like 4 songs and an interlude. So, listen to it. It's good. That's it. We've all heard this next one. This is An Evening with Silk Sonic by Silk Sonic, Anderson .Paak, and Bruno Mars. I think this album did suffer from its rollout a bit. I think Leave the Door Open came out and everyone was so fucking excited. The announcement came out that there was going to be an album. And we were thinking, oh, this is going to be the best album of all time because Leave the Door Open, oh my God, you know? Like just an absolutely perfect song. And then Skate came out a little later and people were kind of losing interest. And then I think they needed Smoking Out the Window. Smoking Out the Window was the 3rd single, and it was absolutely necessary because, my God, people were not happy by the time it came out. It was too late. It was supposed to be a summer album. It came out in the fucking fall. Still fucking great, though. Some of the songs aren't for me as much as the others are. Like, yeah, Leave the Door Open, Smoking Out the Window, and Skate are all incredible singles. We all knew that. And then this album came with fucking Flies Me, 777, you know, just great tracks. The other ones I didn't feel as confident about. Put On a Smile and After Last Night are just, they're just not for me. I didn't like them first listen very much, and they've only aged worse for me. So I think that's unfortunate, but still a great project. Didn't really live up to expectations, but how could anything live up to that expectation, you know? So yeah, definitely listen to it though. Great tracks, great artists. Listen to Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars. Great. Hey, brief intermission here. I had a massive fucking stress headache due to the little hellhole I carved here for myself. and due to the duty of having to swap out these albums every single time. So I'm gonna not do that. I went downstairs and I ate a little trout, and I ate a little honeycomb, the cereal, and I'm feeling a little better. My headache's kind of gone, and I changed my shirt. Yeah, so let's continue with the new Headspace. This video is sponsored by Headspace. Just kidding. Okay, this next album is Smiling With No Teeth by Genesis Owusu. This is a great fucking album from a great new artist. Great, I think, concept album. I don't know, I'm dumb. Black Dogs, there's like a theme, the Black Dogs. I had the privilege of seeing him live. It was the best show I've ever been to. Just super impressive, super intricate stage design. Well, not really. Super amazing and intricate choreography. He had these 3 guys that are the Black Dogs, and they're just super cool, and they're dancing, and it's just super hype. It was the best, and this album's the best, and seeing him live really brought it out for me. Definitely see him live if you have the chance. He's touring like crazy, so you probably can. Some crazy, like, off the wall, like, experimental tracks here. There are a bunch of like really soulful R&B cuts. There's some fun like pop hits, some rap tracks, some like dance, some house. It's just all over the place and super cohesive and just super impressive for such a new artist. And I am excited to see where he goes in the future, because this is super fucking impressive work right here. Melodic Blue, Baby Keem. You might know Baby Keem from his relation to Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar has a huge prevalence on this album. Baby Keem had a huge prevalence on Kendrick's newest album. And this album is fucking great. I heard Do-Rag Activity way earlier in the year, and then when Family Ties came out, that was the same night as the Donda 3 listening party, and I hated it. And then I listened to it more and more, and I was like, oh, this is the best song I've ever fucking heard. Trademark USA is the hardest song I've ever heard. He has this very, very unique quality to his voice. He's like whiny and annoying, but in the best way. He's really funny, and he says a lot with his words, and they're just super unique delivery. He took so many risks on this thing. Like the track fucking Pink Panties. Have you heard that song? Who else could make that? I mean, it's not great, but it's like it's a huge risk. And then Range Brothers. That's the riskiest song I've ever heard, but it's amazing. He is so himself on this thing, and it is addictive. I listen to this more than some of the albums that are on the highest tier of this fucking thing. This album is great. Just crazy shit all over it. At one part, he whistles like he's rapping. Have you heard that part? Listen to it. This is a great... Listen to Baby Keem. Enjoy Baby Keem. We have Pink Panthers, To Hell With It. This is a little project from Pink Panthers. You might know her from TikTok, from her little drum and bass songs. They're really cute, very made for TikTok, very short. That's the meme, that's the joke, that her songs are very short, and this album is very short. But goddamn, it has as much impact as some of the longer albums on this list. This thing is wall to wall, like perfect. Like these ratings are great. Not even a good song. Everything's above great. This thing's amazing. Just super cute, fun, fast, short, just like amazing little tracks. Super well written, super well performed. What more could you want? Listen to it. It's great. Also, Just For Me is like the best song I've ever heard, and all my friends know as well. Tyron by Slow Tie. This is the follow-up to his debut album, Nothing Great About Britain. I really enjoyed that album, but I enjoyed this one so much more. This was, I'd say, the first album of this year that I loved. I remember the beginning of 2021 was super slow for music, and there wasn't really anything coming out, and I was like, man, this year sucks. And then this came out, and I was like, all right. And I was like, okay, well, at least we have this, you know? Yeah, this thing's fucking awesome. So the way it's structured is the first half is just banger, 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 banger from the beginning to the end of that half. And then the second half, you can see it in the track list. You can't see it in my thing because it's all caps, but it's all lowercase. The first half is all uppercase. The second half is really where this thing shines. The second half is fucking magical. You might think, oh, the first half's really short. These tracks aren't really going anywhere, but goddamn, the second half, it's worth it. Yeah, British. It's British. I didn't mention that, but it's British. It's a British guy. And listen to it, man. You will not regret it. I'm ready for my favorites. All right, I'm ready for my favorite albums. As you can see, I'm a fucking ball of love, and I'm ready to spill all of my innards onto these albums. And I'm gonna...
What the hell?
Huh? What the dog doing?
Starting with a banger. Starting off with a very good one. This is The Turning Wheel by Spelling. Now, you might know this one from Anthony Fantano gave it a 10. And, oh, Billy, what? Oh, you only like it because you gave it a 10. No, I only listened to it because he gave it a 10. And I think that's fair. That's a huge recommendation. And I remember this came out, or no, I decided to listen to it the same day as Last Year Was Weird Volume 3. And I loved that. And then I listened to this and I was like, no, I got like 3 songs in and I didn't like it. Then one day I was driving to work on a nice fall day. I decided to put it on again for whatever reason. And it changed my life. It was the best listen to any album I've ever had. It was mind-boggling. Just something about the fall scenery, the fucking magic in the air. You need to listen to this album during fall. That is the only downside. It really doesn't do anything for me when the weather's warm. But fucking God, when it is like 50 to 60 degrees out, like, kill me, dude. Like, you put this album on and you kill me. Like, I die. It's so fucking good. It sounds like a witch, like a witch. It sounds like Halloween. It sounds like witches. It sounds like fall. It just feels like there's magic in the air and purple and green bubbles. And like, I can't give it enough praise. Like, just please listen to it and give it the chance it deserves. She has such an eclectic voice, and I get if you don't like it at first. I didn't like it at first either. But Jesus Christ, she has such a magic. Every second of this thing, it is dense, and like instrumentally, it is fucking perfect from wall to wall. There's not a dull moment. Oh my God, man. Turning Wheel, The Future, Emperor with an Egg, Boys is Cool. These songs are fucking crazy, dude. The Future is my favorite. I love the horns. It's just so beautiful. This album, I remember when I heard it, I couldn't get a smile off my face. Like, I was like that. It was crazy. I think this album as a whole is absolutely perfect, and every song complements each other. It's so beautifully, and just please, please give it a shot. I beg you. Alright, next one on my favorites list. We have Sometimes I Might Be Introvert by Lil Simz. I loved her last album, Gray Area. I have it on vinyl. It's fantastic. I think that might be a perfect album in my opinion. I was super excited for this one. I heard Introvert and I heard all the singles. I wasn't crazy about Introvert at first, but I was crazy about Woman and I was crazy about I Love You, I Hate You. Those songs are fucking terrific, dude. Like, I mean, I Love You, I Hate You is one of the, like, the best written rap songs I've ever heard. And then Woman, I don't know, it just does something to me. So I was excited going into this, and I wasn't ready for how much this album, like, swept me off my feet. I was head over heels for this. I listened to it every fucking minute of every day after it came out. If you knew me when this came out, you know how obsessed I was with this. To an unhealthy degree. If you know, you know. It's like lavish, it is luxury, it is royal, it is instrumentally dense, orchestral. I don't know, it's just everything great, and it's just super grand and big, and it's nothing like her last project. Although I feel like with the track Speed, I feel like she was trying to go for another boss kind of track. It reads as a bit pandering, a little bit. That's like one of my only complaints. And then Never Make Promises interlude, I do not like that song at all. But every single other track is amazing. Even most of the interludes are great. Just please listen to this. If you're one of those people that doesn't listen to female rappers because whatever, please listen to her. Please. She will blow your mind. Thank you. I almost forgot to put on my Turning Wheel shirt. I wanted to wear all the merch I got in the video. But here, I got my Turning Wheel shirt. Alright, next video. Your next album. Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine. Has Hanger been here the whole time? Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine. I got my Boyfriend Warehouse shirt. I have a Roadrunner shirt, but it's dirty. You've seen it in the back. I fucking love this album so much. I love Brockhampton. As cringe as that is, whatever. Brockhampton's my favorite music group ever, and I was very excited for this one. A lot of people say the rollout wasn't that great. It wasn't the best, but I think looking back, it was pretty damn good, and the singles leading up to this were awesome. The teasers that we got were just super fucking cool. Like, the era was just so amazing. Yeah, I wasn't ready for the emotional impact of this album. Like, there's a bit of a loose concept on this album of the light, you know, New Light, New Machine, but the light, and there's tracks, The Light Part 2, and they talk about the suicide of Joba's father, and it is gut-wrenching. It is so hard to listen to, but it is so moving and powerful the way he talks about it, and it is just absolutely moving. It has made me cry countless times. It's just unbelievable, and the narrative of the album is the light is worth the wait, and there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And that seems a little, you know, pedantic, a little like cliche, but if you listen to it, it's subtle and it's really powerful and beautiful. Other than that though, like Count on Me, I know a lot of people weren't big on Count on Me, but Jesus Christ, I'm obsessed with that song. The Light, again, the Windows is one of the best posse cuts I've ever heard. And then The Light Part 2 makes me bawl my eyes out every time. And then I put on Sex, it's a bonus track, and you might think I'm joking, but I'm serious. That song is legendary to me. So yeah, listen to this album, listen to Brockhampton, and if you think that Brockhampton fell off after Amir, then you're stupid. So oh boy, do we have a good one. All right, next up we have Nurture by Porter Robinson. If you don't know Porter Robinson, he is like an EDM house producer, not producer, just artist, and he's made some beloved songs in the past. Worlds, as I'm familiar, is huge in the EDM sphere, and so is he. Nurture was a bit of a departure stylistically, and it is gorgeous. This is one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life. I think it's 100% perfect. I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but it like reinvigorated my love for life, and that is so important. Like The Turning Wheel by Spelling, I couldn't get a smile off my face when I heard this. I remember I was flying around in a creative Minecraft world, and hearing this matched with that was just absolutely mind-bogglingly beautiful. It was one of the best album experiences I've ever had. I got to see him live. at Navy Pier, and it was fucking awesome. Just a great performer, great set design, just everything was amazing. God, this album is beautiful. Like, if you haven't heard it, go listen to it and go on a walk. Just enjoy life. When I was getting into this, I would just drive around and look at the sky and look at the birds and and the grass and flowers, and it's fucking beautiful. So go listen to it and go enjoy your life. Mercurial World by Magdalena Bay. I never heard of Magdalena Bay, but I'd seen this album cover going around and I was like, damn, that's beautiful. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and I wasn't expecting how good this thing is. We were on the way home from visiting my sister at college. I like put it on and it was just like the best thing I've ever heard. It is like expertly produced. Like, it sounds incredible in your headphones, like unbelievably good. Like, the vocals are great, the melodies are fucking earworms, the instrumentals are just insane, the beats fucking hit like crazy. It goes hard, it is beautiful. I love the way it is structured with the end and then the beginning, and like the way it loops and then the halfway point. You Lose is one of the best pieces of music I've ever heard. This thing is just so good. Like, I can't say enough about it. Really, I can't. Please go listen to this, and please listen to Magdalena Bay. Please.
Thick, sweet, sick, so, yeah.
All right, speaking of albums that fucking ruled my life, we have Last Year Was Weird Volume 3 by Tkay. Oh my god, we have it! I loved Last Year Was Weird Volume 2. That was one of my favorite projects of 2020. So I was really excited going into this one. There were a few singles. We had Syrup, Kim, and Cashmere. I mean, as you can see, all three of those are legendary for me. God damn. I mean, just perfect pop songs. Just perfect pop songs and rap songs. Syrup is the hardest thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. I'm obsessed with that song. Kim, same thing. I love Baby Tate. And Cashmere is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard ever. Just every song is near perfect. Just please go listen to this. I know it's an EP, but ignore that. It is an album. It is wonderful.
Lover, is it alright the way it is? Lover.
Alright, next project we got here is Friends That Break Your Heart by James Blake. I don't usually listen to heartbreak albums or any really sad albums for that matter, but this is a very depressing album, very bleak, very fucking beautiful. This thing is beautiful. I love it, and it is just not something that I'd normally listen to, but God, James Blake's voice is one of a kind. It is one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life, and probably one of the best voices you'll ever hear once you listen to this, hopefully. God, it's good. It's gut-wrenching. It is fucking hard to listen to, but it's so easy to listen to at the same time. His voice is butter. It's fucking so good. Definitely listen to this. It sounds like how the album cover looks. I know I say that a lot, but really, it really does. Show Me, and If I'm Insecure, and Coming Back, and Life Is Not the Same, and Famous Last Words. These are just, God, every song is fantastic. Absolutely listen to this one. Definitely a fall album. That is important to mention. Definitely a fall album. Right now, as of time of recording, this is in the love category. I might bump it up into the favorite category. You'll know, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Listen to it.
Why would I pray for your health? Maybe I'll pray for myself. Why would I pay for your pit to go? I'm fucking somebody else.
Alright, JPEGMAFIA is on here twice. He deserves to be, because he is one of my favorite rappers ever and favorite producers ever. LP, offline version, by JPEGMAFIA. If you never listen to JPEGMAFIA, this isn't the first thing I'd recommend you listen to. I recommend you listen to like Veteran or Cornballs first, but this is more, I'd say it's more accessible than the other two. But I think what I personally love about Peggy is more on Veteran and Cornballs, but these are just these tracks are like banger after banger. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like I'd say the melody work and the synth work on this thing is way more impressive than his last ones, and like the song, like the actual song structures, like these are all songs except for like a few of them. You know, on Veteran, I like to think of Veteran as like you're flipping through channels on a TV and you're just seeing a bunch of weird fucking crazy shit. And that's what I love about Peggy so much. And that's a little bit on here, but not enough. So it's not my favorite JPEGMAFIA album, but it is really, really, really good. Rebound is like the hardest song he's ever made. Go listen to JPEGMAFIA. I don't even know how to describe it. You have to hear it for yourself.
Hey, this is Editor Billy. I felt like I wasn't doing this album justice by describing it this way, like comparing it to his older works. I just wanted to say that since the recording of this video, I feel like I've come around to this project a little more, and I've realized that I don't really love any JPEGMAFIA project more than any other one. Like if you told me to pick one of those projects, I couldn't. Like I genuinely couldn't, because I love them all equally. And that sounds like bullshit, but it's not. Like they all have their own unique strengths, and they all have their own unique vibes and sounds, and I really couldn't pick between them. So after all, this is on my favorite tier. I was talking about it like it wasn't, but it is amongst all these other albums up here. So I should have treated it that way. So sorry about that. Continue. Alright, Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast. Now, I know I said I wasn't gonna, like, pick a winner, but this is my album of the year. I don't even know what to fucking say. Paprika is the best song I've ever heard in my life. I'd say that's my favorite song of all time. That has to be. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. When I was getting into this album, I would drive to work in the morning, and I would scream this, and I would cry because it was just so good. Not because it's sad, but because it's so good. Oh my god, I just don't know. This album's it is pure fucking magic. Kokomo, Indiana, same as Paprika. Just the most beautiful, nostalgic song I've ever heard. Savage Good Boy is like this weird, I can't even tell if it's like a feminist anthem or if it's like the cutest love song I've ever heard. It's probably both. And then In Hell is the most gut-wrenching, depressing song I've ever heard. The instrumentation on this thing is fucking, oh man, just crushing. It is comforting. It is invigorating. Just like its title, this album is about loving life. And in order to be truly happy, you need to have pain. That is the theme of this album, and it is told so gorgeously. Yeah, that's my album of the year. I can't really say enough about it, and it was a hard choice. I'd say it's very close between a lot of the other ones I talked about. I think this one has my heart the most, and thank you for watching. Thanks, if you've made it this far, thank you so much, I love you. You know, I took a risk with this video, I think, and this has been something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. This is my passion, and I haven't acted on my passion in a long time, so I'm very grateful, and I'm very proud of myself that I was able to complete this. So if you're here, again, thank you. Please consider subscribing. I think I'm gonna try to put out more stuff like this. Also, if you're interested, I made a Spotify playlist of all my favorite songs of the year that includes any legendary or amazing song from this list. It will also include some non-album tracks that also made my 2021 special, so that'll be in the description if you're interested. Also, I was planning on showing pictures of the vinyls I have from the albums this year, like popping up on the screen during their segment, but that wasn't working out technically, so I made an Instagram. Go and follow it. It's at Billy Listens on Instagram, and I'll be posting pictures of my records on there, and you can go follow that or follow my main Instagram, which will be in the description as well. And yeah, go listen to music and go love life. Music is beautiful. Go find your favorites. Goodbye.